Thanks for joining me. This is a HMAR Mobile Tech channel, and I'm working on a 2001 Mazda Protege with a 1.6 liter. And this procedure is going to be pretty much the same for any vehicle you work on. I've done hundreds of camshaft type related seals and crankshaft seals, and they're all very similar. And if you just adjust the tool the right way, the tool that I'm going to show you how to use is this Lyle seal puller, you shouldn't have any issues. Every car is going to be just a little bit different on how you set up your tool, but basically you're going to set it up where the curved side is like this in front of you. So this is basically, that way is my stomach. So I'm just facing it like this, and this can be moved any way you want just by loosening this knurled part here, this thumb screw, so you can move this any direction that you want. And it takes a 1/4 inch drive hex and an 11mm wrench to adjust your pulling tip. So that'll be for the hex, and that'll be for the 11mm. And you'll get it orientated. It'll move a little bit like this or a little bit like that until you can get it exactly into the right spot. And then this will be your final thing you'll do, is you'll adjust this to where this pry tip here is going to hit somewhere that's a solid piece of metal that's not going to move as you start prying this way. So what you'll do is you'll get your Lyle seal puller here set up here and orientated the right way, and as you can see there's a little lip here, and where that little tip goes right there, it goes underneath here along the shaft. So this smooth side here goes along the shaft, and then that little curved piece tip there of the tool you'll just stick underneath like that, and you'll kind of go backwards towards yourself like that, and then you'll see how this has like a little thumb adjuster, knurled thumb adjuster here. You'll take and just loosen that up, and I've already got this set up here pretty much where I want it, and if it's not in the right spot, you can always move it around until you find a good spot where you can use this tip as leverage so you can pull it back, and then just make sure you have the curved side pointed towards you so that when you push back you'll have room. So once you get it in there all the way, and then you get this stopper right here in a good spot, just put it somewhere where it's gonna hit and not bend anything or break anything. And in this case, this is a really thick part of the cylinder head here, so I'm fine. And so then I just kind of push backwards and just kind of rock it. As you can see, I'm just rocking it towards the engine until that seal comes all the way out. So now that we've got the seal out, we're able to continue our job and get a new one in there. This is how you install a cam seal. So once you got your old one out, compare it to the new one. Make sure it's exactly the right size, diameter wise, and the inner diameter. Make sure all that's all good. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to put a little bit of grease in here, okay? And what that's going to help with is when we go to slide it on the nose of the camshaft, it's going to go on with ease, and it's not going to fold over on itself and mess up this seal that we want to be really good here. If you look in there, there's a little spring around there, so if you force it on without any grease, that spring might pop out. So if you do it the way I'm showing you, there's a 99.9% chance everything's just going to go in like butter. So you don't want to use butter here. You want to use grease or motor oil. Okay. So once you get that all good, and then I just like to put a little bit right here on the nose of the camshaft. Make sure we got a little bit of grease on there. And then what you do is you kind of angle it a little bit. Not too much, about that much is okay. I found that if you try to push it straight on it, you kind of fight a lot. So just kind of have it at a little bit of angle, and then work down the side that's kind of pushing out a little bit to give yourself a little bit of a better push on it. While you're doing that, you'll just be making it straighter and straighter and straighter. And you don't want to force it on, you want to go real gentle. You could even just turn it a little bit like a steering wheel, just a little tiny bit, just to kind of get it on. And once it's on, it'll feel like it went on, and it'll feel like you didn't mess anything up. Because when it just goes on, it'll go on real easy. You won't be fighting it to push it on. So this wasn't really fighting it. This was just getting it on, because this is a brand new seal, and it's got that spring in there. So you're just overcoming the brand new part of the rubber of the seal and that spring in there. So once you get it on all the way, then what you do is if you have any doubt, you can always back it off and see that everything is still in the way that it needs to look. So we'll go back and do this one more time. And I just did that last part for myself because this is a real paying job. And I need to make sure I get it right. And I don't like comebacks, I don't like leaks. So then just push it back real slow. Until you get it to where you start to see it kind of fit in there into the recess. And then as you see how I'm kind of going at one end and going the opposite end, so you could go like at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, whatever you want to do, just as long as you're opposing with your thumbs, and just kind of try to walk it in and push it in a little bit at a time with your thumbs until it's sticking out like that, kind of evenly on both sides. Then what you do is you could use a piece of PVC pipe if you want, but I just happen to have this 35mm socket, and the socket is basically the exact same diameter as the seal. This is the old one, by the way. And I already did, and what you're going to do is, before you do this, is make sure that it kind of fits in the recess with the seal out, and that way you'll know that when you go and tap it in, you're going to get it in as far as it can go. So with a rubber mallet, you can just tap it in real slow and just keep it evenly. You can just watch it go in evenly. If you see it going crooked, then you'll stop and you'll adjust. Go slow. Now once it's in all the way, most of the time I put these in just flush, or about a 0.5 millimeter in, which is what all data says. that from this flat flush part here, the part around the cylinder head, the opening part of the housing that houses this seal, it's supposed to be from where I'm scratching with my thumb about the thickness of maybe 2 business cards in. And you can't really make a mistake because there's only enough room for the seal to go in. So that's how you do it. And just make sure, if you're not 100% sure, you can take a mirror. This is called an inspection mirror, and you can go and you can see how I can see it, and I think I can see it on the camera as well. And then you can also, you can put your finger there to make sure that the space is correct and you didn't get the seal in any way crooked. So if you just tap it in real gently with the socket, it'll just continue to get flush all the way around in there. And then when you go and put your finger around, it'll look in right, it'll feel like it's in right, and you can see it with the mirror. And that's how you put a camshaft seal in. A crankshaft seal or any other type of seal that's of this type, they're all the same way. And what it takes to get all this stuff off is quite a lot of work, but if you're already getting this far into it, you probably already know how to get the cam gears off. So you already know how to do all that and get to that point. So this is just a guide to show how to remove and replace camshaft crank seals.
Thanks you guys for watching. Do the basics brilliantly. You did a good job. I'll see you next time.